Kodachrome is a recently released film on Netflix that stars Jason Sudeikus, Ed Harris, and Elizabeth Olsen. Jason Sudeikus plays a guy who is on the verge of being fired from his job as a record label executive when his estranged dying father asks him to accompany him and his nurse on a road trip from New York all the way to Parsons, Kansas, so that he can develop his final few rolls of Kodachrome film before the deadline for Kodachrome is passed up. But is this film even any good? Let's explore that, shall we? Hey, what's up world? Welcome back to the channel where we explore my mind and the world, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a travel movie review. By the way, if you guys are new to this channel, I make videos on this channel every single week about topics related to travel and traveling and destinations and exploration, but this time I'm doing a movie review on a road trip centered movie. Now this film, like I said, stars Elizabeth Olsen, Ed Harris, and Jason Sudeikus. And it was recently released April 20th of 2018 onto Netflix and was first premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival back in September of 2017. Now Netflix, as you know, has kind of a track record with movies. They put out a lot of good TV content, but because they put out so much content in general, a lot of it's not that great, even though they do have lots of really good premium content. So is this worth watching at all, or is it just another Christmas Prince? Well, you're gonna have to decide that for yourself, but I'm gonna give you guys my opinion on what I thought of the movie. First of all, I'm gonna let you guys know that I'm gonna try to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible. If you really don't want any spoilers at all, just go watch the movie first. Now, like I said, this movie is about an estranged father and son relationship, along with the father's aiding nurse, as they take a road trip from New York all the way to Parsons, Kansas, in order to develop the last few rolls of the photographer dad's last few rolls of Kodachrome film that he has before the Parsons, Kansas film developing lab develops their last rolls of Kodachrome film. Now, if you guys don't know, for context, Kodachrome was a type of film that was used in the early days of color film. It was the first type of process to develop color film, and it developed sort of a cult following over the years, but in 2010 they sort of scrapped the whole thing, and the movie was actually sort of inspired by a New York Times article written about how there were so many photographers making the trip and the pilgrimage to Parsons, Kansas. People were flying from London and Australia all the way to Wichita, Kansas, so they could drive to Parsons, Kansas, just to get that last roll of Kodachrome film developed. Now back to the movie. It is a very common type of trope where it's estranged family members get together because they have some sort of mission to do or for some sort of reason, and it's also a road trip movie. And this was kind of similar to Nebraska, where an estranged father and son go to cash in a winning lottery ticket. And what I noticed from this film is that it definitely hit a lot of those beats, which was kind of satisfying in a way, but also sometimes it was a bit too predictable, even if maybe those story beats might have warranted it. I felt that the dialogue in certain parts of the film felt a little bit clunky, not too bad, but it did feel a little bit forced sometimes when they were trying to bring out exposition parts where they're trying to explain the family dynamics between the characters, but other times it was, you know, sort of well written and it was okay in certain parts. But what I gotta say is the best part about this movie is probably the performances that you get from Jason Sudeikus. Elizabeth Olsen was okay, but Ed Harris definitely was a standout role in the film. And I think they casted the roles perfectly, because Jason Sudeikus, I don't know if you guys know his other roles, but he's very good at playing a very jerk, selfish character. And Ed Harris, if you guys don't know, he's very commonly playing like an evil mastermind genius, like in Westworld or Truman Show. But in this time, he played a sort of a arrogant, really grumpy old dying man who's sort of a selfish jerk, just kind of like his son. But yeah, I think he plays it quite well, and that sort of head-to-head dynamic between the two works very well. I'm very sorry, Elizabeth Olsen, that you didn't get a better, more fleshed out character in this movie, but I mean, hey, you get a lot of roles in a lot of movies, so you got a lot of opportunities. Now, in terms of the more technical aspects of the film, moving on to visuals, specifically camera work, I think that they did at least put in some thought to the camera work. They had some interesting angles, you know, some parts where the characters were directly in the center of the screen. Other times they, you know, shot through mirrors or through reflections or through frames, the way that they frame certain things. They did a lot of one-shots, which wasn't always necessary because they did a one-shot for an establishing a place where it's not like completely necessary to establish. I mean, the longer takes coupled with the editing style of not quick, punchy, fast, quick cuts and short shots, I think it works out well and sort of lets the actors and the performers really shine through, which is really kind of what this film was going for. And in terms of production design, it was also sort of rather standard, you know. The props was the 35mm camera. That sort of stood out the way that Ed Harris's character, Ben, he would load up the film with his hands, and you know, the way he would sort of manually do everything. It sort of made, I guess, some hipsters and old people feel really nostalgic for it and appreciate it. One thing I do want to make note of is the soundtrack and the music. I sort of personally enjoy the soundtrack just kind of because I like a certain type of classic rock and indie rock. I like that kind of music in addition to the other type of music that I like. And even the characters themselves say in the movie, this is not really going to spoil anything, that you can tell enough about a person by the music that they listen to. But what did I think overall of the movie? Should you see it? Should you not go see it? Well, I gotta say, if you really like dramedies and family dramedies, especially drama comedies, stuff about, you know, estranged family members, then you're probably gonna like this one. And if you're someone who really loves the idea of film, of like, you know, physical analog film cameras, maybe you might like this movie too. And if you like road movies, you might enjoy it as well. So if you are on a train or on a bus for a really long time or something, I would say you should probably download this movie onto your Netflix app or something like that, because it's a pretty good story. It's not anything too heavy that makes you really think a lot, so it's probably pretty good for that. And there's that sort of message in the film that I sort of appreciate, where, you know, photographers, they're preservationists of time, because they want to capture every moment in time. But, you know, you sort of also have to live in the moment, and that theme sort of was rather prevalent throughout the movie of living in what's going on now as opposed to living in the past. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you heard of this movie? Have you seen it? Are you going to see it? Do you not want to see it? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can be notified of when my next video will be, which will be next Thursday. Click over there for my last video. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I'm on all those social media, all those links in the description below. But that's all I have for you guys. Until next time, go explore something.